Canterbury from the sea to the Alps with a bit of Mount Beautiful in between. We navigate our way around wine labels, find some classics at Kumara at the Theatre Royal, and then we'll meet the winery team who are well ahead of their time at Sherwood Estate. It's gonna be thirsty work, people, but someone's got to do it. Fantastic. The North Canterbury landscape has often been associated with arid, rugged, high country sheep farms. And yet 45 minutes south of exactly where I'm standing is the wine region of Waipara. Here, where we are, in Cheviot, nestled between two massive braided rivers, is a very lush and very beautiful vineyard, Mount Beautiful. Taking advantage of the natural contours of the land, the 65-hectare estate has been carefully planted on north-facing slopes of rolling hills and terraces. The two main hillside sites are dissected by a major gully called the Chasm, which divides the vineyard into north and south blocks. Haere mai!
Oh, hello,
nice
Yvonne.
to see you. When I was told I was coming here to look at a flash piece of vineyard equipment, I thought I might have my wires crossed.
Very funny. What it does is it lifts the wires up from the ground and puts a clip in which holds the shoots in place.
Oh, as they grow up through the...
As they grow up.
Okay.
So we don't have any clips on our posts, which is quite unusual. This machine does the job of probably a team of about 10 that would be normally running through the block doing the wire lifting.
Wow. Tell me what's so interesting about the land profile you've got here?
Well, I mean, the aspect is probably one of the things that's most outstanding about this vineyard.
Okay.
The most northern side is all Sauvignon Blanc, and on the southern hill is all our other varieties, our Chardonnay, our Riesling, Pinot Gris, Pinot Noir, and they're a little bit more elevated than here, probably maybe another 30, 40 metres higher, and the hills are a bit steeper there, so it gives us a nice warm platform to grow those grapes over there. We try and sort of have what I like to call minimal input into the growing of the grape. Yeah, we try and sort of tread carefully, if you like. So some of the mowing we do, we use our motorbikes and a little tow-behind mower. We spray seaweed every time we spray, and we put fish oil on the ground, and it's really noticeable. So like when I go and spray, the next day you can see how glistening and shining they are from that.
Bit of a thistle patch through here, isn't it?
There is, but the really pleasing thing is just seeing all this Phacelia, this blue flower on the edge.
And so this is buckwheat?
That's buckwheat. So both of these are host plants. If you look really carefully, you see they're hosts for various insects. There's a hoverfly, and there is a little parasitic wasp. And the parasitic wasp lays its egg...
in the pest?
In the pest, and destroys the pest. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's a bit gory, really.
Yeah, it's far better than going through with an insecticide.
So this is the Riesling block?
Yes.
Canterbury as a region is famous for Riesling, isn't it?
It is.
I love the way it looks, by the way. It's lovely, sort of pale, very soft pale gold.
That sort of slight pale lemon yellow, but then you've got that lovely aromatic, sort of limey character, but then for me it's also that minerality. Yeah,
and there's a sort of beeswax, you know.
Absolutely.
That, honeycomb bee, but they're the waxy character on there.
Finn and I work very hard to make sure that we get clean grapes, and we're picking only clean grapes with no botrytis characteristic whatsoever, and that's what gives you, I want wines which have got some drive through to the end of the palate and length of flavour.
Definitely got that, this wine. I mean, I can still taste that wine, and as soon as I put it in my mouth, my gums just went, hello! And this is all from here?
This is from here.
Right here.
Yep.
Wow, you're definitely doing something right.
Well, no, I think the vineyard's doing something right. You just look at the vineyard, look at, just look how healthy it is.
The wine has been getting quite a bit of attention recently.
It has, hasn't it? Yes. Well,
remind me, what's going on? I mean, I keep seeing it everywhere.
One of these pure gold medals from the Air New Zealand Wine Awards.
A pure gold at the Air New Zealand Awards.
So that's something to do with sustainability and something to do with the wine, I guess.
Hi there, my name is Robert Watkins. I'm the CEO of Mount Beautiful Vineyard and Winery, and also Edscad Station. Obviously, I'm from California, where I've spent 20 years in the wine business there, and now I'm privileged to be able to take that experience to New Zealand.
Wow, this looks amazing. It's pine nuts, yeah?
You know the Latin for that?
Pinus...
unbelievable. Do you know how to pick them?
No.
Harvest them?
No.
Oh, shoot.
But there's an awful lot else going on in the vineyard and in the whole kind of Mount Beautiful scene, isn't there, in terms of land use?
To get the vineyard here, which kind of went through the whole property, David purchased 4 different farms, and the vineyard cuts through all 4 farms.
Right.
But then you're left with, what do you do with all the land around the vineyard? So we do have a working farm, which is about 4 times the size of the vineyard.
Okay.
And we have a full-time farm manager.
So there's that sheep
Tom.
and
Yep.
beef? And...
Sheep and beef, and we use it primarily for the runoff property for David's other larger station called Esked.
Right.
So everybody who has a high mountain station likes to have a low mountain property to do runoff and fatten their cattle or sheep.
You know, I do.
You know, I would say I knew that from California, but I don't. I had to learn all that here, so yeah.
So Robert has extended our tour and we're heading to the hills. Well, the Southern Alps to be exact, and the incredible landscape of Esked Station. So down there, there's a hut with a kind of orangey roof. What's that?
It's a Stony Creek hut.
Okay. What was it like the first time you kind of flew over the property?
Very, very daunting. There's some fat cows.
They look very fat and very happy. Oh, and little calves as well. Hello. So what breeds of sheep and cows do you have here?
Fine wool here, so it's all merino. Yeah, and there's a wether flock and a ewe flock.
Right.
Yeah, so we're just finishing tailing the lambs today.
Do you have any spare time? Do you hunt? Do you fish? Because, you know, there's an amazing river here. I'm sure there'd be maybe, what, deer and pigs up in the hills?
I will do.
Early days yet? Too much work?
Haven't got there yet, yeah.
So apparently there's some lunch being cooked over a hot plate for us.
Over a hot plate, yeah.
Up over the hill. Fancy a bit of lamb and Mount Beautiful Pinot.
It doesn't sound too bad for tailing, does it?
Look at that lamb. I can smell it from here. Perfect. We're looking forward to trying this Pinot with the lamb. Oh wow, look at that colour. Fantastic. So Pinot and lamb, bit of a match made in heaven, don't you reckon, Sam?
Yep, just a standard meal for
So we eat
tailing.
every day at Esked, right?
Every day, yeah.
Right.
So what do you think of the wine?
I like it.
You like it? Just as well. What is it you like about it?
A lot of reds have a bite to them.
Yeah.
This hasn't got a bite.
It's quite smooth, isn't it?
It is smooth, yeah.
So the whole kind of New Zealand high country, you know, game and lamb with Pinot Noir, is it quite a different sort of flavour combination than what you are used to back in the States?
Well, the scenery certainly is.
Forget the scenery, it's about the food.
But the actually in Napa, we'd probably be eating New Zealand lamb as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
But just not cooked as good on the metal plate, and the spices was fantastic.
How far away would Mount Beautiful Vineyards be to this property right here?
Mount Beautiful from here is probably 60 k's.
60 k's. It's just a hop, skip and a jump, really.
Just go down the river and you go right by the vineyard.
So follow the river we do, all the way back to the sea. Then up over Mount Beautiful to the vineyards. Perfectly timed, as the owner of all this is flying in his little plane to have some dinner with us. Expat Kiwi and entrepreneurial academic David Teese has been recognised as one of the world's top 50 business intellectuals, and yet this world-renowned global business professor put his money where his taste buds are, and together with his wife Lee, developed all of this.
Well, part of it, I think, is, you know, being a Kiwi, everyone's brought up on a farm, and there is something visceral about farming and the land. And I should also confess that I had a double major. It was economics and geography.
Huh.
So I had to study a lot of soils.
So you like getting your hands dirty?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me, how old is this woolshed? This place is amazing.
I don't know for sure. I think it probably goes back perhaps almost 100 years. It certainly has been worked hard. It could still function as a woolshed, but we've found a better use for it. Of course, we don't have to go through a rigmarole with a cork. Most come to understand now that screw cap does not mean low quality.
Well,
And
you know what?
and I'm sure we can prove that right here.
This just smells like elderflower and lime and minerals, like wet stone, you know, and crushed up shells.
You can find many things in there. I can even smell some honey in there.
You know what? I think this has got seafood written all over it.
Well, it goes as well with Nelson scallops as it does with California oysters.
Rice. It's a Thai salad of coconuts, Kaikoura crayfish.
This just looks amazing. I'm just going to have to dive in, I'm sorry. Crayfish salad, Tennyson, what do you reckon?
Well, they say that the more colors in the food, the better it is for you, but it also tastes really good. The combo of the coriander and the coconut and the crayfish, it just all, you wouldn't think so, but it just all goes together really well.
This combination is just stupendous.
Oh, I just got a huge piece of chili. It's good though.
Anybody for a glass of Riesling?
Absolutely, we'd love to try the Riesling.
You did that without your glasses, Sam.
We went to the local man at Kaikoura and he said moki's better than warihu.
So we've got smoked moki.
Smoked moki. Everything's done with lemon peel, juice and mustard and dill.
That is going to be amazing with the Riesling.
It's really good how the Riesling replaces that smoky flavour. You know, when it's like your mouth's quite full of that smoky flavour of the Riesling, and it's replaced by some sweetness and.
It just kind of cuts through it, but washes over it.
Yeah, just replaces it. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Really good. Yeah.
Well done.
Cheers.
Mr. Teese, thank you very much. It's been just the most amazing day. I really, really enjoyed it.
And to finish with this Pinot Noir, which is on its way to becoming world class.
I don't think on its way. I think it's fantastic.
Well, the New Zealand side of me says it's on its way. The American side says it's already there.
Some of the American is rubbing off on me. Go team!
Well, go Terroir. Terroir and
Go
team.
Terroir.
Terroir and team is what makes a great wine.
I love looking at wine labels. They're loaded with information. You can pretty much find everything you need to know about what to expect inside the bottle by looking at the outside. Now, if we look at the front of the label, this one, for example, you can see the name of the producer, the name of the grape that's actually made the wine inside the bottle. Here you've got the region. This one's from Marlborough. And on the side here, you've got a date. 2011. So that's the vintage, that's when the wine was actually made. So if we turn it around the back, you'll see it's got all sorts of information about some of the flavours, nettles, snow peas, guava. Wow, this one sounds fantastic. But it's also got interesting little things like the fact that they're a member of Sustainable Wine Growing New Zealand. It'll tell you that it's got 7.7 standard drinks inside there and that it's 13% alcohol. And if it happens to have a shiny medal on the front of it, it means that somewhere, somehow, someone who knows what they're talking about thinks this wine's pretty good.
After the break, we're tinkling the ivories at Kumara and popping a magnum in Waipara. In the late 1800s, the Taramako River was the site of New Zealand's last great gold rush, and the tiny town of Kumara was born. The town once boasted 50 pubs and was the hometown of famous Prime Minister Richard Seddon. When Kerry Fitzgibbon came along, the last remaining pub was derelict, so she brought it back to life.
Oh my goodness, Kerry, this looks amazing.
Does indeed.
Oh, that's so pretty. I just want to take a photo of it.
Well,
this is superb.
We're 1876 and they used to love high teas, so let's go with it.
So how on earth did you arrive in Kumara, and what possessed you to buy this pub and do it up?
Well, my husband and I have actually been coming here for 45 years. And when we first started coming, there was a museum here, and 3 weekends out of 4, I would voluntarily work in the museum, and I absolutely fell in love with the history.
So it's really not just this building. You and your family have kind of
revitalised that feeling of the excitement and the history and everything of this place.
We have, but I must hasten to add, we could not do it without a lot of work and a lot of support from the locals. They bring me in things all the time.
What kind of things?
A lot of the beautiful old antique lights here. People have had sitting in their sheds for years.
Wow.
Or a lot of the old beautiful urns, the vases, all sorts of memorabilia. Everyone's happy because they're being shown and the stories are being told. And that's nice, that's rewarding for us.
The other thing the locals bring is produce, because Chef Dylan loves the local flavours.
Oh, you look like you've been working hard, you're sweaty.
Yep. Well, we've just cleared out the spuds. We're getting ready for our winter plant to get ready for the new menu.
So what's the most popular dish?
We do a big quarter-pound of whitebait.
Sorry, a quarter pound.
A quarter-pound.
Of whitebait.
Yep, that's right. And we do serve it with a citrus salad at the moment, but most West Coasters, they tend to come in and they like to tell me how they want it.
In New Zealand, we're obsessed with whitebait.
That's right, and
We
you have to do
love
it properly.
I recognise that song. John, it's Maggie. Now I want you to play me the Rod Stewart version. Can you do that?
What are you talking about? You know, I've only played things behind 1945.
Oh, crumbs. What's your connection to this place?
Well, it's been here all my life, of course, and my mother and father owned it in the 60s, owned it for about 3 or 4 years. And of all things, I met my wife in this pub, so...
Do you like what Kerry's done with the place?
Yeah, it's certainly brightened the place up, and it's taken awful lot of guts to do it.
Is Billy Bob your real name?
Well, William Robert is my real name.
Oh.
And how I got the name Billy Bob, I'll never know.
I wonder.
My father, he was mayor of the town here, and he was the president of the Kumara Racing Club for 35 years. But the Kumara races, of course, they're famous for the yearly meeting, you know.
So you recommend I come and visit?
Absolutely, yeah. Be marvellous. You'd have a great time at the Kumara.
Do I have to put on a frock and a fascinator?
Not really, you could come anyway.
Oh.
Doesn't matter.
What do you think the original publicans of the Theatre Royal would think of this place now?
There's an old African saying, and they say you can never ever be dead when there's someone alive who remembers you. So isn't that nice?
That's so
We've got
nice.
all our themed rooms and we're telling the stories of people who made it possible, so...
And it sounds kind of funny, you know, describing the locals as gold.
You're right.
But they are.
They are.
Waipiro Valley is the fastest growing wine region in New Zealand, but 25 years ago, it was a very different story.
In fact, in 1987, when Dane and Jill Sherwood planted their original 10-acre block here, wine wasn't even on the radar. And growing Pinot, that was crazy talk.
Nice cup of tea. People thought we were absolutely crazy when we first planted grapes. It was back in 1987. It was a real time of turmoil in the industry because there was, in 1986 there was the vine pull scheme.
That's right, people were pulling grapes out.
People were being paid to pull their grapes out.
Crazy.
In fact, when we first made our first wine, there were 75 wine producers in the country. And
It was 91?
91 we made our first wine, but now there's 750. Having that number of people now making wine and growing grapes, I mean, we can take our wine out to the world and on a bigger scale than what we did back the mid-90s. It was really hard slog in Australia. I stood at countless tastings just pouring wine to the trade where they'd hold up the wine and just look at it and they'd say, oh, I can see through it, it can't be any good.
Oh, because they're used to those big grunty Shiraz,
yeah,
Cabernets and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So it was a real hard sell, and it was only until probably 2002, 2003, 2004 that Penrith and I started to get a bit of a name over in Australia.
Okay, and the attitude sort of changed.
Yeah, I'm very adamant that we don't grow grapes, we actually grow wine. So I talk to all our viticulture people to say you don't look at them as little bunches of grapes out there. You're looking at little bottles of wine, or little glasses of wine, and so that's where Peter comes in. He oversees both of those areas.
It's the most amazing colour. It's like sort of a cross between chartreuse and yellow diamond.
Well, there's a green edge there, Yvonne, so it's 4 years old already. And we're now seeing, this is a Riesling from 2009 from our Georges Road vineyard.
So it's had a couple of years just to kind of kick into place.
Soften out.
There's lime and there's lemon, but there's this kind of waxy note. and then it's dry and clean on the finish. I mean, how do you do that?
It's great. It ages so beautifully, Riesling, and that's the essence of it all. And it goes on and changes in the bottle. And in the vineyard, you look at it and you think, well, what's it going to turn into? But it's aromatically, it just evolves in the winery. It evolves in the bottle into something that's initially quite light and delicate, and then you get all these flavours developing. And there's lots of things you can do. You can have botrytis in there as well. So this has got a small amount of botrytis.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got a little bit of that kind of slightly honeyed...
This is our dry Riesling. It's got some lovely texture through the palate.
Yeah, it's dry, but it's really generous and flavoursome, you know, because there are some Rieslings, they go, oh, you know, we're a dry Riesling. And you taste it and you go, oh, yeah, you are. And then it's empty. This is really generous. It just kind of...
Lovely mid-palate sweetness there.
Yeah, sort of waves of flavour. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow, it's like an art film in a bottle. It just kind of keeps you interested. I mean, I can still taste that. It's just going on and on and on.
Like Dane said, the wine is grown out here in the vines, and these bunches are looking very good so far.
So, Peter, what's growing here?
This is Pinot Noir from our Terraces vineyard. We've got 5 different clones up here, and we've been growing up here for the last 10 years.
But we've been making Pinot Noir for 25 years.
25 years?
In fact, when we first planted, we were told we were crazy for planting Pinot Noir. We should be planting Merlot or Cabernet Sauvignon. So it was a bit of a punt. There were probably only a handful of producers in the country at the time.
Oh, yum. This smells fantastic.
Yeah, lovely fruit. We're very happy. This is a 2011. Majority of it came off this terrace block.
Do you know what? It's really changed in the glass. And I don't know if you can see, you're on the nice grassy bit over there, but I'm standing in some kind of freshly kind of ploughed, turned earth. And it's that lovely kind of, you know, damp, earthy note that I'm getting from the ground. And it's in the wine. There's some really lovely sort of rhubarby, tangy, plummy notes in there too, isn't there?
Yeah, the spice and texture, the spice that we get on the aromatics is lovely here. And that's the enjoyment of wine, really, is that when you first pour it, it just, it evolves over the course of a dinner, and that's what's it's such a thrill with wine.
For me, it's about the balance, actually. Just the balance of fruit, balance of oak, and the balance of acid. To me, it's just a wonderfully balanced wine, and that's what I really look for in wine, and Peter does as well, is just balance.
It's nice tropical fruit there.
Well so in your head, you've kind of got like Olympic gymnast on the beam doing somersaults.
I'm far too old for that. I wouldn't have a clue.
Sure.
But I think a fantastic wine, Peter. I think really, really good.
Yeah. The style of Sherwood Pinot, Dane, has it changed a lot over the 25 years?
The basic philosophy is exactly the same. There has been little tweaks along the way as you have different winemakers come in, but the basic philosophy is that it does need to be grown out in the vineyard, but then when it comes into the winery, we hand plunge everything.
My name's Jamie, and I've worked for Jill and Dane for 7 years now. This will be my 7th vintage. I've done a little bit of everything here. I started out in the back room. This used to be my favourite friend. Lots and lots of plunging. And that's the only way to make true Pinot Noir, is to hand plunge it with love and care. It was fine when we were doing small quantities, but now we can plunge up to 300 tonne in a vintage, and that's quite a bit of work.
And it's not just in the winery that everyone's working hard. The office staff are flat out all year round, and leading the charge has always been Jill.
So whose idea was it back in the early days to set up a vineyard? Was it yours or Dane's?
It was Dane's, really. He was looking for a new challenge and something that we just wanted to be in charge of our own destiny.
Any times that you've ever thought about chucking it in? Has it ever been sort of too much, too stressful?
It's been very hard and has been very stressful, and yeah, still is, but we love what we're doing and we have never wanted to chuck it in. No, we enjoy it.
You've got quite a big team here.
Yeah, we started off doing everything ourselves from the early days, but now as our sales increased, yeah, we've got great staff behind us now in the winery. Peter's just clocked up 10 years, so he's been fantastic.
Having a background in the bank, you know, working in banking, must mean you'd be able to kind of keep your eye on the money coming in and the money going out.
That is.
So I hear that Dane's a bit of an auction addict.
He loves buying furniture and has been built up quite a good. All the office furniture is from different auctions he's been to. Trade Me, I don't know, I don't think that was too good a thing, but he often buys things on Trade Me, but he does like buying things, as well as being a very good chef, very good cook. I think winemakers are very good creative people, good chefs.
Sounds like a good person to have around for your next potluck.
He can bring the wine too. Yes, yeah, he cooks our harvest dinners too. He's pretty amazing.
And with that, it's time to sit down for a bit of sustenance. And it must be a special occasion because not only do we have a feast of local produce, Peter's cracking open a Magnum.
So, Love Reek, how's it made?
This is a blend of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir from 2008.
Wow, so it's had a good few years in the bottle.
It was 3 years on lees. Well, 1 year in tank and 2 years in bottle.
We only make it every 2 years, and it doesn't last 2 years before it's sold out and getting more and more popular. Janie wants to make it every year now, but that's up for debate.
Really subtle on the nose, you've got that kind of lemon shortbread kind of character. And it's so crisp and clean. Gosh, you know, it's dangerous.
I just like the yeast autolysis character. And being technical, I mean, not from a fun point of view, but just from a technical point of view, I just like that really nice biscuity yeast autolysis. And as Peter said, it does take quite a while to come through in white grit. It just because that age is, just takes a little bit longer to age.
So you've been working in the winery, Michael, just this one season, or do you work here every year?
Most holidays I work here. I've been working here for since about 8 or 9.
Since you were 8 or 9?
Doing work on the bottling line and things. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Actually, I have got a sample of the base wine here, and this is how it starts. It's basically a white wine. This is what it looks like. It's quite austere. There's a slight...
Very austere, quite chalky, sort of crushed oyster shells, minerally. Wow, and it's so dry.
Dry and a little bit more acid in it there. So over that course, over the next 4 years, from where it is now to this bottle sample, it will go through some changes.
It's so kind of rich and fruity, and there's lovely complexity, like marzipan, and there's lemon in there. It's all over the place, whereas the brand new one, the baby, which hasn't even begun its life really yet, it's really kind of lean and
very tight.
Quite tight and stark and bony even. But in a really good way.
Yeah.
What does everyone think? Pretty good way to have staff smoko, isn't it? Just you have smoko like this every day, don't you? Crack open a Magnum of bubbles.
And off we go.
Happens it's a hard life. Yeah, so you know your secret at Sherwood is now exposed. Cheers to Love Reek. Cheers to Sherwood. Cheers to all of you. Hooray. Fantastic.
And love will see you.